reporting for us live from Tel Aviv. Thank you, Raf. Joining us now here on set, the CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt. Jonathan, let's just start with your reaction to, obviously, the security and worry that shadows the Israeli athletes at the Games.
Well, Jonathan, I'm really glad you're covering it here because I think it's stunning. I think it's stunning to think that Olympic athletes who spend their whole lives training to compete, to be the best in class at what they do, gymnastics, wrestling, whatever the sport, have to do this under the threat of violence. I mean, there's no other delegation going to Paris that has 24/7 security like this. And again, in the shadow of Munich, where Israeli athletes were held hostage and then butchered by the Palestinian terror organization Black September, it is sad that we're back right where we started. But it just reminds us that anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism are persistent threats to Jewish people everywhere.
So let's also talk about something that happened closer at home. Prime Minister Netanyahu was in Washington this week, gave a speech on Capitol Hill. You know, it was viewed through a very partisan lens, that speech. And certainly there's a right for peaceful protest. But what we saw outside the Capitol, and particularly around Union Station, were, more violence and vandalism. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, it was ugly. I mean, I was there in the Capitol and watched the speech. There was something in the speech for Republicans. There was something in the speech for Democrats. I was pleased that the Prime Minister actually laid out a vision of where this goes. Free the hostages, free Gaza from Hamas and the terror threat, and then a vision of two states basically living side by side. That's essentially what he said. But outside, what you saw was, I mean, to us at ADL, it's not astonishing at all. We've seen the escalating violence of these protests. There were National Park Service officers who were assaulted. They defaced that statue with the words, "Hamas is coming." I saw ISIS flags. There were Hezbollah and Hamas flags. I mean, we shouldn't even call these people, Jonathan, peaceful protesters. How can you be called peaceful when your rhetoric and your actions are so violent?
Jonathan, part of the tension has been that some of us have certainly stood with what happened October 7th was absolutely, unthinkable and certainly deplorable. And what's happening with innocent people dying in Gaza is the same. But you can be for Israel and the Palestinian state to operate with, and still be against Netanyahu, which is a position that you and I have talked about. That's my position. Being anti-Netanyahu is not being anti-Israel. But when we see this threat in Paris around the Olympics, which brings us back to '72, and some of the activities of some of the groups, and it's not the groups that I think that have legitimately raised humanitarian concerns about Gaza. When you see them overtake that, is that not really the concern? Shouldn't there be boundaries that we all have saying, wait a minute, we're for this. It may not be identical on both sides, but we're not going to allow violence and anarchists and anti-Semites, anti-blacks, anti-LGBTQ people override and maneuver our legitimate concerns.
You are absolutely correct. I mean, if you want to see anti-Netanyahu protests, go to Israel. I mean, the Prime Minister is not very popular there. There are ways to protest Bibi Netanyahu, to take issue with Israeli policies, and yet not be anti-Zionist and say that they have, as we saw signs at Union Station, we have a final solution for the Zionists with a picture of a mushroom cloud. I mean, this is not normal. To say that you're going to kill athletes and threaten them with murder is not normal. It is anti-Semitic at its core. So look, I want an end to the violence in Gaza. I want no more civilians killed. I want Palestinians to live in peace just like Israelis. But the terror organization Hamas that said they want to repeat 10/7 again and again and again, that's got to stop. And any American who wants to stand up for peace should be standing up against Hamas.
Let me follow that up with, and also this puts a lot of work on some of the groups that ADL, National Action Network, National Urban League, all of us that start around hate in this country. And do you fear that as we go forward with the international threats in Paris and some of what's going on, that we lose the work in terms of the combining the forces against racism, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia and all, and an important role the second gentleman, who may now be the first gentleman who was working with us, may be able to play in.
Such a good point. The black community, the Jewish community, the Asian American community, the Latino community, LGBTQ, we all have, the Muslim community, we have more in common than the things that keep us apart. There are folks who want to divide us, who seek, extremists who seek to say, get rid of the ADL, break the alliances, push out the Jews. That is wrong. It is not just anti-Semitic, it's un-American. We should speak up against that every chance we get.
So, Eugene, Prime Minister Netanyahu was at Capitol Hill Wednesday. Yesterday, though, at the White House, he had meetings with both President Biden and Vice President Harris. You were in the pool.